Awareness is the single most important muscle you can have. It's what tells you to not eat another serving when you're already full. It's what tells you to calm down, take a deep breath before you yell at your partner or yell at a friend. It's what saves you from going for a PR and hurting yourself when you are feeling like shit and you are not properly warmed up. I have a story on that one later from about 10 years ago where I broke my femur twice. The more aware you can be of yourself when you're working out, when you're eating, when you're doing pretty much anything, the faster you're going to see results because you'll be able to recognize what's working well for you as well as what's not working well for you. I see so many people who just go into the gym and they go work out regularly, say 4 or 5 days a week. They expect to see results, but the whole time they're in the gym, they're sitting on their phone. When they're actually doing exercises, they're on their phone. Like, if you're not really paying attention to your body and really dialing in to how you're feeling, how hard you're working, the weight you're lifting, you are not going to see results because you're not going to be pushing yourself hard enough. You're not trying to be aware of the workout and how you feel. You're trying to be aware of your phone. So this is one of the biggest, most glaring things that I think people can do to level themselves up in the gym. Super simply, just pay more attention, be more aware. You're your own greatest coach, and no one is ever going to know you like you know yourself. Even if you have the best coach in the world, they are not going to be able to understand how you feel when you come into the gym that day. Maybe you slept poorly, maybe you drank yesterday, maybe you're just not in a great space. No one else is going to be able to know that just from looking at you the same way that you'll be able to know that from feeling it. Similarly, if you're lifting heavy weights and you're trying to push yourself to struggle, which is where muscle growth happens, no one is going to know what that struggle point is but you. Like, your coach can look and take a guess and say, okay, maybe we should add this much weight, take this much off, do this many reps, whatever it is. They're still not going to know it in the same way that you do. So that is one of the biggest reasons you need to just become as aware as you can of yourself, your body, and the things that do well for you. Because if you don't become aware of how your body responds to things, you're always going to look for answers externally. And the answers that you can get externally are never going to be as good as the ones that you can come up with if you are just really aware of yourself, your body, and how you respond to things. That was long-winded, but that is the single biggest thing I try to teach my clients as a trainer, as a coach. The more aware you are of yourself, the better your results are going to be, 100%. So I'm going to keep this one short. Let's talk about how to develop your awareness. There are a lot of ways you can actively work on this, which are really good for your physical and mental health, as well as all of your relationships and everything else in your life. Daily meditations, journaling, going to therapy, silent walks, whatever works for you. There's a lot of ways that you can really work on that. But the single biggest thing, and like the easiest practice, is really just pay attention to how you're feeling consistently. Pay attention to how your body feels during and after these workouts. Pay attention to how your body feels after you eat certain foods, after you go to bed at certain times. The more you pay attention and you start to pick up on, okay, like, this is how my body's responding, this is how I'm feeling, the faster that you're going to pick up on what's good for you and what's bad for you. For example, if you have a couple beers before bed, you probably aren't going to sleep as well as you would have if you didn't do that. You're not going to feel super good, wake up in the morning, and you'll notice, hey, I don't feel great. I didn't sleep super well. So you decide to not drink the following day. Very simple example about paying attention to how your body responds to alcohol. Similarly, let's say if you ate something and it made you feel terrible. Like, let's say you go get Panda Express one day. I have a personal vendetta against Panda Express because I had really bad food poisoning once from the broccoli beef. Let's say you eat Panda Express one day and then you are feeling like shit the following day. You have a bad workout. You just can't focus, whatever it might be. Maybe you take that as a message from your body that maybe I shouldn't eat this next time. Maybe I should try to have something healthier, something a little bit less processed and greasy, whatever it is. Another just example of, like, just pay attention to how you respond to things. So last thing I mentioned, I had a story that I wanted to tell. Back when I was in high school, I had an avulsion fracture in my femur twice. Avulsion fractures are when the bone doesn't break, but basically one of your tendons is ripping, or ligaments, I don't quite remember which one. They're pulling really hard because of a motion you're doing. So for me, I was running. And when I was running, my tendon, ligament, whatever it was, pulled a piece of my femur out of my femur because I pulled too hard. And that fractured my femur and it hurt like a bitch. I remember I couldn't straighten my leg for like 3 weeks, which was super annoying, but just by nature of where it happened. But that is what happens to me. In the spring, I was cleared to get back into practice. So that happened in the fall. In the spring, I finally got cleared to get back into practice after I'd been rehabbing it and healing it for a while. We had 5 a.m. workouts that we would go do quite a bit. So I woke up one morning and I was going to the 5 a.m. workout. I didn't sleep super great and I was feeling really stiff. But one of our workouts was for the warm-up, one of our warm-ups was to do falling sprints. We would sprint for like 5-10 yards just to get the explosion in. You know, it's football, and then you would get to jog the rest. So one of the first movements we did pretty early in the morning, I felt kind of like shit, but I did it anyways, thought I was good and healed. As soon as I fell forward and pulled my leg up for that sprint portion, I felt another pop, and I did the exact same thing. So that was the second time I had an avulsion fracture in my femur, and I was out for another like 4 to 5 months. This was a lesson in awareness for me really early on, because had I known what I know now, I definitely wouldn't have done that warm-up so early on. I would have walked around and warmed up quite a bit more. I would have really taken the time to stretch out and just start sweating, but really, especially warm up the site of my injury. I wasn't feeling great that day. I should have known that, but again, I was probably 17 at the time, so I didn't. Lesson learned. When you are feeling really shitty, you're going to work out, like good for you if you have the discipline to do it anyways, but you still need to take the time to properly warm up. And some days you should just listen to your body. If you're feeling really shitty, you're not feeling great, maybe don't go for the all out sprint. Maybe don't go for a PR. You're going to hurt yourself. And that is just not worth it in the long scheme of things. Being strong, healthy, and fit is really a lifelong game. And building your awareness is how you choose to be a part of that game. You choose to be a really active participant by paying attention to what helps you feel strong, healthy, and fit. You also pay attention to what makes you feel shitty. Some people decide to start playing early, some people decide to start playing later, and some people just never decide to get into the game at all. But the thing is, you're in the game whether you want to be or not. So you can choose to be an active player and work hard at bettering yourself, or you can let the game happen to you. In my experience, people who just let things happen to them typically tend to be a lot less happy and a lot more judgmental of other people. I'm guessing if you're watching this, if you read my newsletter, you have probably chosen to start playing the game. So if I were you, the first step that I would do is start paying more attention, start working on your awareness so that you can really start to learn what works well for you and what doesn't. And you can prevent injury like my broken femur. Appreciate you guys watching this. We will have another newsletter coming up on how to build big biceps this weekend. So talk to you then.